All right, so let's look at function notation now. We just learned about what a function is. Now we have some special signs or special symbols that represent a function. So the old way that we used to do it is y equals 2x plus 1. The only reason I call that old is because that's the first way you learned how to do this. It's not really older or newer. That's just where you were first introduced to y equals something. Okay? The new way we're going to do it is we're going to use this symbol here, f parentheses with an x in it equals 2x plus 1. So basically we're just replacing this y value with this f and an x inside its parentheses. Okay, that's the new notation. In other words, our x is still our input, and then our function of x, or this part right here, this right here is still going to give me my answer, or my output, right? This is still going to give me, why is this doing, okay, output. All right, so that's still going to be my y, or whatever I get once I replace the x with something. Okay, so let's take a look at this a little bit closer. So the f stands for function. The parentheses, we can kind of say that of, and then x is still x, or that is known as my input value. Okay, so what we're saying is that this is a function based on whatever the x is. Or we'll just say it, instead of saying function of x every time or function of the input, we just say f of x. So f of x, that's what that's telling me. And remember, your x is your input. So basically, we're going to pick a number we want to plug in here. So let's say it's 7. And instead of saying f of x, we're going to say f of 7. And then instead of saying 2 times x plus 1, we would say 2 times 7 plus 1. And then we would evaluate what that would be on this side. So let's look at a couple examples of what exactly it is that I'm saying. All right. So we have our x values. Let's go ahead and pick a few. Let's pick negative 3 and 0 and 2 and 5. Okay, I just picked those. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, instead of the function of x, we're going to say the function of negative 3 equals 2 times x, but instead of x I'm using negative 3 plus 1. Now whenever I substitute something in for x, I always use parentheses because it's going to help you keep everything straight. So even if it's a positive number, use parentheses so you know where x used to be, and this is the number that's replacing that x. Now all I'm going to do is I am going to now solve or evaluate the right side of my equation. Let's see here. I'm just going to use there it is. So basically all we're doing is we're just going to evaluate this part right here. Remember, this is kind of like my y equals, so this just sits there. This isn't where I'm worried about anything right there. That's just telling me what number I plugged in to my equation. So don't try to solve anything on this side. That's just telling me what I plugged in. All right? So if I come back here, let's just 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, plus 1 is negative 5. So remember how we talked about the machine last time? How we had our input, and then we put it into some sort of machine, and then the machine spit out an output. So now we have the machine. We know what's going inside of this box. In this case, it's the 2x plus 1 that's inside the machine. Okay, so that's all we're doing right now is we're figuring out what's happening inside this machine and getting an output. All right, so let's do another one. So now we're going to do f of 0. Because we have our x, we picked it to be 0. And then we're going to do 2 times 0 plus 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So the machine spits out a 1 after I put a 0 into it. Okay, let's now do f of 2. We have f of 2 equals 2 times 2 plus 1. Remember, I used my parentheses. The x was there. I'm going to use parentheses to tell me what I plugged in for the x. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Okay, and then this last one, I plug in a 5. So instead of f of x, it's f of 5, because I'm putting a 5 in the place of x. not 2 times x, it's going to be 2 times 5 plus 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So that's how we evaluate our functions. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at some more examples here. All right. So here I have f of x, or a function of x, or another way you can think of a function is a result. So like, what's the result after I plug in an x? Basically, is what that's asking us. Okay. So it's asking what's f of 2. Well, we're going to do -4. Instead of an x, we're going to put the 2 in there, minus 2. -4 times 2 is -8, minus 2 is -10. So that is my y value. My x value was the 10, or the 2, and my y value was a -10. So if I were to write this as an ordered pair, I put in a 2 and got out a -10. Okay, let's try it with f of 3. So we're going to do -4, parentheses 3, -3, minus 2. -4 times -3 is 12. Minus 2 gives me a positive 10. That's my y value. So if you were asked to write it as an ordered pair, you'd have -3, 10. There we go. Okay, x squared. So we're going to do 3 squared plus 4. 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. -7. Just plug it in where the x is. -7 squared plus 4. -7 squared is 49, plus 4 is 53. And there we have how we evaluate functions. So go ahead and start your assignment, and please let me know if you have any questions.